Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Luxvoni podcast. My name's Stephen Ray. I'm an marketing executive here at Luxvoni, and today's guest is Dakota, one of the managing partners here at Luxvoni.com. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, brother. Another day, another dollar. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Now, the reason I wanted to do this episode is I'm often dealing with clients on a daily basis. A lot of these clients become dear friends, and I'm really able to get a non-biased opinion from our clients on their experiences with us. And over the last year or so, our client success rate as a company has just soared. So I wanted to bring you here today so we can take the viewers behind the scenes of how we've been able to make so many of our clients successful through funnels and paid traffic.
Cool, man. Well, it's going to be a long episode, but let's rock and roll with it. All right, so this is going to be a little bit unique because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the viewers through kind of a approach of the entire company. And I'm going to take you through every single piece of it, from marketing to sales to back end to fulfillment to everything in between. So if we start at the very beginning of the process, when I'm often asked, hey, how do you guys deliver what you do? How do you do it so quick? How do you do it so great? And I think it really starts with one word, and that's curiosity. And if you've ever studied super successful people, what you'll find is, Sam Walton, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, some of these guys, one thing that they all have in common is curiosity. And Sam Walton in particular, I've studied him for years, and one of the things that, was very funny and interesting to me is there's this old story of these business guys from Brazil. Yeah. And back in the day when Walmart was blowing up and Sam Walton was doing his thing, these guys reached out to him and asked if, he could come meet him in person and, kind of pick his brain. And they were hoping Sam Walton would possibly mentor these guys. Now, these guys owned like some of the biggest chains in Brazil. They were like the Walmart of the United States. Mm-hmm. So they were expecting to come out and, get some tricks from Mr. Sam Walton. So anyways, these guys show up on this runway. They're in this private plane. They land. And they say this old busted, rusted 1986 F-100 pickup truck show up. And it's a little standard cab. It's got rusted fender wells. There's a dog in the passenger seat. These guys are in suits. They walk up to this truck and they're like, are you here to take us to Mr. Walton? And Sam looks out and he says, I am Mr. Walton. Hop in a truck. We'll head to the house. They have to hop in the bed of this truck. So he's cruising in this old rusty thing, got his dog up front. They pull into this big gate. They go through the gate, and it's just a beautiful estate. It's where Sam Walton lives. And they get inside, they're talking, they're chatting, and these guys are looking to get some insight from Mr. Walton. Well, what they find is the entire dinner for 3.5 hours, they didn't get anything from Sam. Sam literally asked them question and question and question and question, and wanted to know everything that they knew. And finally, by the end of the dinner, they're sitting there and they're like, I thought we were coming out here to learn. It seems like this guy just wants to learn from us. So they do their thing. Everybody's appropriate. Everybody's polite. They go on their merry way. They jump on the jet. Well, over time, this relationship builds, right? And these guys tell Sam that he should come out to Brazil and check out some of the retail stores. So he flies down there. He doesn't tell him he's coming in. He just randomly does it. And he's in these retail stores, and it's in a mall, right? He's walking through this retail store. And Sam Walton, the owner of Walmart, the founder of Walmart, is on his knees, crawling around the store in a foreign country, doesn't speak the language, doesn't know the first thing, and he's got measuring tapes, measuring the distance between the aisles, measuring how the products are placed on the shelves, measuring how the entire store is laid out from a psychological standpoint of how things are positioned, how things are packaged. And while he's sitting there, somebody comes up to him and they're speaking a foreign language. He can't understand them. And he says, everything's fine. I'm good. I'm just looking at something. And they call security. Well, security calls the police. They show up. They think Sam Walton's crazy, and they arrest the dude on the spot. Well, they take him to jail, and back in the day, we ain't have these little cell phones with these contact information. You had to memorize numbers. So Sam was a smart guy with numbers, and he called these Brazilian guys up that came to his house that invited him out, and he said, listen, I'm in jail. I need y'all to come get me out. And they said, what? So they run down to this police station. They get in there, and of course, they got Sam Walton in a jail cell. And they said, well, what are you doing? This is Sam Walton. He's the owner of Walmart, one of the biggest retail chains in America. And they get him out. They apologize. It goes on. But the moral of the story is, even though he was the biggest retail store in America, he was willing to get on his knees. He was willing to get a measuring tape out. He was willing to look like a complete fool to see if someone in Brazil knew something he didn't.
Wow.
Now, that's the point of this story. And I think with Luxvoni, we've taken a very similar approach to that, right? And we're obsessed with our customers. We're obsessed with our competitors. We're obsessed with our products and our services. And we're completely obsessed with market research. So if you look at what really makes us successful, it starts with one, competitive funnel research. So when somebody comes to us to build a funnel, the reason why their success rate is so high is because we've worked with some of the largest brands on the planet when it comes to funnels. And we've been able to take all that data. We've been able to take all that experience. We've been able to break apart every 7- and 8-figure funnel that's ever existed. And we've been able to translate that into best practices that we constantly replicate for our customers. So instead of, providing an assumption or an opinion or a theory, when we get on a call with you and we're doing an initial consultation and we tell you it's going to work, we have data to back that. We have experience to back that. So I think that's the first piece. We're practitioners in that aspect. Now, we have an entire competitive market research team. Now, I didn't just do this when we started out. We've done it and made it a part of our company values, is staying curious. So what we used to do back in the day, and we still do to some extent, but we don't really have any competition now to do it with. But back in the day, we would literally book consultations with all of our competitors to try to understand what their offers were, what they were pricing, how long were they taking, what their contracts looked like. We were curious enough to do that all the time. And then we found out what people were doing, what offers were they running, and we kind of got to understand of the downside to what some of these other agencies were doing. And then we were able to innovate our way out of that. The next piece is, once you get past funnel research, it really comes down to traffic research, because a funnel means nothing if you don't have qualified traffic to push to it, right? So when it comes to like traffic research, that's something else that we're constantly looking at. We manage large amounts of traffic for some of the biggest names in the game. We have insight into what's working, what's generating the most ROAS. We're able to take these big budgets and these big companies that can spend $5 million a month on Facebook ads, and then we test all this stuff on their dollar, get all the data from it, get the best practices from it, and then bring it to everyday consumers. So that's the next piece. So we have a whole team that just specializes in that. So if there's a funnel that does 7 figures, like Dean Edelson, I know all the guys over at ClickFunnels.com, and one of the things that is really insightful for me in building those relationships with those individuals is we're like one of the first people to know when a funnel makes a 2 Comma Club award or when it does 8 figures. And we're able to use those relationships to get insight. So I've got an entire team that takes those and breaks them apart. Every funnel, we're looking at it, we're swiping it, we're signing up for the email automation, we're swiping every piece of it, and then we're looking at all the traffic sources. Was Facebook the number one traffic source? What was the retargeting campaigns? Were the ads static or were they video? Were the retargeting campaigns based off of CTAs or were they based off of video watched? What was the ROAS on those campaigns? How did they look? How many variations did they have? What was the targeting sets? What were they targeting? Were they targeting mobile? Were they targeting desktop? Where'd the traffic come from? So that's the second piece, that competitive market research on the traffic. And then the third piece really comes down to innovation. So we've done the competitive market research on our customers. We've done the competitive market research on the traffic. We've done the competitive market research on our product and service, which is, of course, funnels, traffic, etc. That leaves us with innovation. So before you can get to innovation, you have to be curious enough to continue to look, to explore, to find out different principles, and to be humble enough and let your ego go and say, how do I keep optimizing this? And that's the same way that we run our funnels, we run our ads, we run everything, because we're optimizers. That's all we do. And it's kind of a slogan in our company. Optimize, optimize, optimize. Run experience, optimize. And I think that that gives us a huge edge over everybody else in the space, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Now, the second piece to this, after the curiosity and the innovation, it really comes down to the marketing, right? Marketing as a company. Now, when we talk about marketing, marketing is really broad. I'm talking about direct response marketing. I'm not talking about branding. I'm not talking about stuff that's not trackable. But at the end of the day, we're practitioners. We've built an 8-figure company off of funnels, paid traffic, email automation, and of course, fully functional and custom CRMs. And we've done that for ourselves. We're not teaching you to do something we haven't done. So we're practitioners in the space. Every funnel that we've ever sold, we've ran for Luxvoni. We've tested it. We've tried it. We know what funnels work for an agency. And the second piece to this is understanding psychometric and psychographic targeting. Because these media platforms, Google Ads, Google Search, YouTube, Facebook, there is so much AI and data involved. Majority of people don't know what to do with it. So instead of just looking at targeting sets, we break it down a step further. We look at psychodemographic, psychometric assessments. We look at psychographic targeting. What do these people actually do? Where are they at? Where are they spending their money? What does their personality facets consist of? How do they buy? When do they buy? What's their buying patterns? What's their buying behaviors? And what we've done is we've tailored it all the way down into our ideal customers who have had success. So this is the crazy part. With our customers that have had all this success, we're then taking all that data and we're refeeding it back into all these ad platforms. And then we're building lookalike audiences targeting people just like the successful. Now, if we don't have a project that is successful, we, of course, feed that different information. We don't want more of those people. So I think that's very important. And the real key with that is it's very expensive to get into this stuff. When you start looking at the data, the CRO, the optimization, the psychometric assessments, looking through and building all these high-level psychology profiles to use in your targeting, it gets super expensive. It's expensive to set up, and it's also expensive to run ads for it because the targeting is so specific. So with us, in my opinion, I think whoever spends the most to acquire a customer wins the game. That's just a fact, right? And the second piece is you got to be willing to break even on the front end. And if you can't be successful and make your client successful and have a back end, it's going to put you at a disadvantage. So like us, people often say, wow, you guys are number one on Google for every sales funnel term on the planet. You type in sales funnels and you meet our income bracket, you meet that psychometric assessments, those psychodemographic profiles that we're using to target. Mm-hmm. If you schedule a call with us, we paid $1,000 for that phone call, whether you show up for it or not. Now that's expensive, but here's the catch. We as a marketing agency are willing to break even on the front end. Why? Because we make our money off of our customer success. We don't make our money off funnel development. Mm-hmm. So therefore, we can outspend all of our competitors. Now, we didn't intentionally mean to do this, but our mission has always been to support customers first. We didn't really have a mission around our competitors, right? So by doing this, there's not many funnel builders out there. Like you can go through Google, like real done-for-you funnel agencies that specialize in traffic and everything. There's not many out there. But the problem of it is some of the guys were relatively successful. They were building decent businesses. They had, 4 or 5 members on their team. Everybody was making great money. And then here comes Luxvoni. And now they can't outrank us. They can't outspend us. They can't outconvert us. They can't outdeliver us. Their project time takes 30 to 60 days. We deliver better quality in 7 to 14 days. So we've gotten a lot of envy from our competitors, and it's unfortunate. But again, our mission is to support entrepreneurs. It's not to support the egos of our competitors. So that's something we have to deal with. And unfortunately for us, these competitors, they like to talk. And some of these guys, I think they have failed to build their own building. So they would rather try to tear ours down, right?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but that's the game of competition and domination over competition. Like, we don't compete, we're dominating. And the reason why we're able to do that is because we're willing to make those sacrifices. And we didn't intentionally do it, but it just happened. So that's our mission. And unfortunately, it's gotten wacky, but the marketing is very, very important. It's a very important aspect. So when you see one of our ads, if you scheduled a call with our reps, we know more about you than you think we do. We know your buying patterns. We know everything. So when that ad comes up on Google, or that ad shows you on YouTube, or that ad pops up on Facebook, or all those retargeting ads that you're about to get that said, hey, why didn't you sign your contract, or why you didn't schedule your call, we have data on all of that. And just know that you are the perfect fit for our services based off all this data. Now, the only thing this data can't provide us with all the time is limiting beliefs. So if you're uncertain about yourself, how are you going to be certain in us as a marketing partner? A little tricky, right? So that's the marketing aspect. So competitive market research, curiosity, innovation. That was step 1. Step number 2 is our marketing. We're practitioners, the data, the funnel, willing to spend more than anybody else is on marketing to acquire a customer, willing to break even off the front end and make our money off the back end. And of course, our mission to our customers. We don't have a mission for our competitors. The next piece is consultations, right? So when somebody goes through, they hit one of our ads, they land on our funnel, they schedule a consultation with us. What does that process look like? Now, I can take all the data from the customers and I look at the call recordings regularly, and it's a lot to look through at this point. So I typically get the transcriptions of the calls. I don't really go through all of them. But people who book calls with multiple funnel agencies, they all say one thing in common. Your presentation blew everybody else away. And the reason why that presentation works is because the stuff that we have, you can only have if you've worked with the people you say you have, right? So other agencies are like, we worked with so-and-so. Well, show me what you did. Or other agencies are like, they don't pre-frame all that. So when you come to us, we jump on a consultation with you. We get to know each other. This is not a high-pressure sales call. This is not some low-level sales tactic. Like, when we get on a call, the first thing we have to determine is, are you a good fit for us, and are we a good fit for you? So that's where that process starts. And we go through, we ask questions. We want to understand your current situation as a founder, as an entrepreneur. We want to understand your desired situation. And us as a company, if we can't bridge that gap through a funnel, we're going to flat out tell you we can't, because we're not making hardly any money on the funnel development cost. The only way we succeed is if you succeed. So why would we pressure you into a deal that's not going to make any sense for us and have no long-term with us? So that's the trick there. So when we go through that process, it's kind of different. And then what we do on that call is we focus on providing a real strategy based off data. So like if you're a speaker, we might take you through Tony Robbins' funnel. If you want to raise capital, we might take you through Grant Cardone's funnel. But the difference of it is we're going to take you through every step of that process from start to finish. And here at Luxvoni, what I think sets us apart is, you're an example of this, Stephen, to be quite frank with you, is we don't employ salespeople. We employ coaches. And it's always about being a good coach. And the reason why you've been so successful and you've had clients calling you and you've built these great relationships is because you conduct yourself as a coach. So when we get on a phone call, let me ask you guys a question here. If we get on a phone call with you and we know with complete certainty that this one funnel can take you from your current situation to your desired situation, and we don't overcome your objections and try to coach you in the right direction, who's doing who the disservice? Do you want to work with a firm that doesn't believe in your product, that doesn't believe in you, that's not going to hold you accountable, that's not going to force you to level up, that doesn't understand in order for you to get something different, you have to do something different? That's our approach. So sometimes people get on the phone with us and they say, God, you guys are certain. You guys are, and that's because we're coaches. We're not salespeople. We are coaches. We are there to coach you on something you've never done, to get something you've never done, because we're the subject matter experts, which is why you showed up on the phone with us in the first place. That's the trick there. So, I think salespeople, they're great at giving presentations. I think closers are good at giving presentations and good at overcoming objections and taking your money no matter what the circumstances are. And I think coaches are a blend of those, but they only do what's in the best interest of you as a business owner, as a founder. And that's what we pride ourselves in, because our money is made on the back end, the long term. We're not in the business of, quantity. We're in the business of quality. We want to set up good deals. And you know this. When deals go bad, very few of them do. Out of the 400 people we serviced, we probably got 36 deals that have not gone well. And you guys know this because if a client doesn't succeed, guess who's got to pay back the commission? You guys do. And that's one of our, most important principles here is setting clients up to succeed. So if we fail to let them succeed, nobody benefits from it. The company doesn't benefit from it. The coach that was on the phone doesn't benefit from it. Nobody benefits from it. And that's how serious we are. So that's that piece there, is being a good coach. And also we do a lot of preparation prior to the call. So when somebody comes up, we typically have a lot of big names come in and we know everything that they're doing. We can tell them what their primary traffic source is, what their marketing spend is, and people sometimes are like, our marketing better than our CMO. And we laugh and people know we do our due diligence. But there's about a 3 to 4 hour process. When you hit that Luxvoni site and you schedule a call, there's 3 to 4 hours committed to you before you're ever on the phone with us. And the reason why we do that is we want to show people what it's like to be a customer before they're ever a customer. And that's the difference. We're willing to go the extra mile. We're willing to really dive in and understand your business. And we're willing to tell you no if we can't help you. And we're willing to tell you yes if we can help you. You see what I'm saying? So it's a little bit of a different dynamic. Now, once you get the consultation part out of the way, you got the curiosity, you got all the competitive market research. We talked about marketing a little bit. You get down in the nitty gritty, you talk about the consultations. The next point is the onboarding. What makes us super successful here is client expectations. And I often look at, a lot of our clients are marketing agencies. And I often look at, back in the day, a lot of our competitors. And I used to laugh at their onboarding processes because there was no expectations ever made. So for an example, as an entrepreneur, there's typically, 3 type of psychodemographic profiles that a founder or an entrepreneur consist of, right? Number 1, you've got freedom fighters. Freedom fighters pray at the altar of profit. Their main KPI is to finance their lifestyle. That's the first one. The second type of founder or entrepreneur is a mountain climber. These are your guys who pray at the altar of revenue. These are your guys that don't really care about profit that much. They're willing to fuel growth. They're willing to go all in on scaling, and they operate from a different place. These are your Teslas. These are your, Elon Musk is, your Bezos, your, all these guys are mountain climbers. They operate from a different potential. They operate in a different way. They're not just chasing profit. They could quit working today. They're chasing innovation. And then the last process is craftsmen, guys that would do what they do for free. Like we've got clients that you talk to every day, man. They want to make money, but at the end of the day, they just love what they do. They want to keep doing it. They want to do more cosmetic surgery. They want to do more dentistry. They like performing. So in the business world, you have producers and you have performers. Your mountain climbers, those are producers, right? Your freedom fighters, those are typically producers. But your craftsmen, those are typically performers. And there's nothing wrong with being a performer. There's really not. I've got buddies that have detailing companies that make $2,000 a day. They're wet sanding, buffing cars. They're super successful. But they're performing and they enjoy their craft. So there's nothing wrong with that. So if you don't get those type of expectations out of the way, understanding which profile, your ideal customer, your new client, what is their main KPI? What did they determine success and failure? That's the first thing. Because the entire marketing strategy is going to change based off that. If you're a venture capital backed company and all you care about revenue, it's going to be a whole different traffic strategy from somebody who cares about just profit and financing their lifestyle. So I think understanding all that's really important. And our onboarding process is long. I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah.
It takes 20, 30, 45 minutes for a customer to fill out. And the reason why it's a long process is we need to know these things so we can support them to the best of our ability. So I think onboarding is it's super important, and setting those expectations and then putting them through some type of system that isn't like something they've experienced before. Project management's important. Expectations are important. Communication is important. So we've really listened to our customers. And back in the day when we started Luxvoni, you got people texting you, you got phone calls coming in, you got emails, this thread, this thread, this thread, this thread. There was like 15 points of communication. And everybody wondered why not everybody was on the same page. So we got obsessed with that aspect. How do we make this streamlined? So we built a state-of-the-art project management system, and it is through Trello, but difference of it is it's custom. We have all these automated elements on the back end. It's unbelievable how well it works, but it keeps all the communication. It uploads the entire intake form into the project management system. It dedicates a dedicated person to you 24/7, 365 to manage your project and make sure your expectations are over delivered. Make sure if you need additional assets, we're there to support you. So everything's in one place. So it's real cool. And it's also in these little tiers to where all the deadlines are there. So like you come on, here's your contract, here's your invoice, here's step number 1, here's step number 2, here's your funnel mock-up, here's your revisions, here's your final product, here's your Go High Level or ClickFunnels or whatever platform login to where you can access your funnel. And then here's where you schedule the call for your traffic. Like it's streamlined and all the dates are there. So like you can see all of that. And it's a real linear process. And I think that that's important because often as a consumer, you come in, and I know as a consumer, I hate it too. You're like, God, this is just one more thing I got to learn, right? So we took that in consideration when we were designing this. How do we make this easy, flawless, transparent, expectations are clear, and that's what we built this entire thing around. Now, after you get past onboarding, we've talked about competitive market research and being curious. We talked about the marketing. We talked about the consultations. And now we've talked about onboarding. The next piece is, as a Luxvoni customer, what happens after onboarding? And this is the most stellar process or innovation that we as a leadership team have come up with. And if you look at Henry Ford back in the day when he designed the assembly line structure, back in the day, a Model T used to take 12 hours to build. Well, what Henry Ford ended up doing is implementing and innovating a new assembly line model that took that 12-hour time frame all the way down to 1.5 hours. But here's the crazy part. Not only was Henry Ford able to produce way more cars through this assembly line structure, but he was also able to have way better quality. And he did this by, instead of spreading his talent thin and making them become subpar in 15 different things, he made them focus on one single domain. He made them the best in the world at putting that wheel on, or putting that intake gasket on, or adjusting the valves, or putting the oil pan on. Everybody were practitioners in one single thing. And what this allowed Ford to do is not only get out cars way quicker, but also be able to get cars to market much quicker, which then generated more revenue, completely slaughtered all their competitors. And then guess what that did for Henry Ford? Now he was able to jack up and overpay people by 3 times the industry standard because he could get to market quicker and he had a better product. So all of his competitors, they didn't do this. They were all spread thin in different domains. They were working their people 12 hours a day. Their quality was getting messed up. Henry Ford is paying all of his people 3 times. They become masters in one single domain. And here's the real kicker. He cut their hours back 3 hours. They worked 6 to 7 hour days. All the competitors worked 12-hour days, 9 hours days. Had to work overtime 24/7. And they wondered why the quality of the cars couldn't stand up to the famous Model T. So that was the real thing. And that's what allowed Ford to really blow up. Now, if you think about Ford as a motor company, they've had great success, right? They've been a company that's around for many years. They've bought a lot of companies. But I would say Ford's main innovation is the vehicle, of course. But their second innovation is what they've done for every automotive manufacturer company on the planet. Because Henry Ford, and Ford doesn't now just run an assembly line model. Tesla runs it. Lamborghini runs it. Porsche runs it. Every car company that you know of is running an assembly line manufacturing structure. And we also use it because it's very effective. So I've spent years studying this, tweaking this. And again, all this stuff, if you listen to this, Luxvoni has been 7 years in the making. This wasn't all done the first time. This is iteration. And we started piece by piece. But with that being said, we implemented that into our company. And instead of having like an interior person, a wheel person, a differential person, a drivetrain person, an engine person, we have a project management person. We have copywriting person. We have a design person. We have a development person. We have a traffic person. We have a CRM person. And we have a CRM tech stack person per project. We don't have one person running 15 different projects that's subpar in copy, that's decent in design, but sucks in development. We take our talent and make them become experts in one single domain. So if they want to be copywriters, they're going to be the best copywriters in the world. We're going to bring in Sean Valser. We're going to bring in all the best copywriters that you see in the internet marketing space. We're going to spend all the money on them, and we're going to develop our talent through them. That's what we do. So we don't spread our people thin. So when you come on to Luxvoni and you get onboarded, and people see our funnels, and they're like, wow, the copy's incredible, the design's incredible, plus you guys were able to deliver this in 14 days. How'd you do it? Well, there's the secret. That's the secret. Having 5 to 7 people on every single project that are subject matter experts in their space, that have developed 10,000 hours towards their craft and only focus on that one thing. Now, just like Ford, we don't overwork our people. We don't spread them thin. They become masters in that. And then if we get to a point, which we've done many times, Steven, you and the coaches here, I mean, you guys are constantly onboarding new clients 24/7. And right now we service 40 to 50 clients a month, which is a lot of customers. But there's been points through that process that we have had to make really quick decisions and say, quit selling. Don't keep bringing people on. But the difference of it is, instead of just collecting that cash, we'll pause the process because we're playing long game, and we'll go replicate the talent and onboard that talent. Because now that we have some of the best copywriters on our first tier assembly line team, all they got to do is replicate what they know to the next one. So it's an assembly line model that we can scale, and we've been able to scale it very successfully. But I think that that's very important. So when you come on with us, it's a little bit of a different process. There's not one person that's working on all these things, and it takes 60 to 90 days to give you a subpar funnel. Because I'm going to be frank with you. I've done all the psychometric assessments. I've ran all of the ADTs, the optimism, the pessimism. I've done a lot of onboarding and a lot of training. And I've come up with a lot of these SOPs for our company. They're all different psychometric assessments. A coach is not a funnel developer. A designer is not a dev team. A copywriter is not a dev team or a designer. An email automation expert, copywriter, but they're not developers or designers. And then a CRM tech stack guy, completely different personality facets. Openness scores different. Agreeableness scores different. Neuroticism scores different. All these personality facets are very unique. So we've been able to continually bring in trends to see who's going to succeed and who's not, and actually base this off real data, not assumptions. So like we told you before, we're constantly optimizing. We optimize everything, right? So that's really important, I think. So that's the marketing aspect. Now, I'm not trying to rant, but this was a big question. So I'm trying to go through this. Do you feel like I'm doing a good job explaining this, Stephen?
Yeah, absolutely. And very in depth. So I appreciate that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So after the assembly line structure, now you know how we get our quality, how we get our speed, and how we're able to deliver exceptional products to our customers. The next piece comes down to customer success, is what it really comes down to. And I think customer success is very important, and it's one of the reasons that why we've been successful is not just customer success, but voice of customer. So we regularly run surveys, and we've done it for 7 years. Like, we've always been obsessed with understanding our customers. So in the first iterations, back in 2015, 2016, it took us 60, 90 days to build a funnel, right? Back in the day, it took a long time. Our customers told us that was too long. Instead of saying, oh, they're wrong, our customers are wrong, we said, okay, we've got to innovate. We got to figure out a way to make this process faster. That was the first step. Second step, our customers, once we made it faster, they still wanted the bespoke design. They still wanted that high quality Luxvoni feel. That's what Luxvoni is known for. Our funnels don't look like funnels. This isn't some BS little click funnel template. These are beautiful bespoke funnels that show your customer what it's like to be a customer before they're ever a customer, right? It's a different game. Mm-hmm. So then they said, hey, we still want them bespoke. Instead of saying they're wrong, we can't do that, let's innovate. Let's figure out how to be the fastest and the highest quality. And then after we got through that process, we did just that. We accommodated them just like that. Then we would deliver these funnels to people, and they'd say, well, Dakota, we don't want to do the email automation. We don't want to write all this copy. We want it all done for us. So instead of saying the customer's wrong, we innovated again. And then after they got the funnel, the email automation and all this, it was fast, it was bespoke, it was dialed in, everything was set up for them. They then came to us and said, Dakota, I got HubSpot, I got Confusionsoft, I got this CRM, I got Pipedrive, I got Zapier connecting this to this. I got this whole thing broken. I can't track offline conversions. My sales team don't know how to work it. This back end is a nightmare. Instead of saying, oh, you're on your own, we said, let's innovate our way out of it. So we innovated that. We adopted a new platform, and we built all of our customers' custom, fully functional CRMs as a part of our services. You see, funnels are not just funnels. Like when you go to a site and when you go to a competitor, and when you're supposedly vetting a marketing agency. If you're not getting your automation, if you're not getting the email and text message, if you're not getting all your pipelines, if you're not getting your CRM, if you're not getting every single bit of that set up, I'm sorry, you don't have a funnel. You have a landing page that somebody told you was a funnel, and they charged you $4,000 to $6,000 for it. That's the fact. A real funnel is the entire piece, right? Now, after that process of going through that innovation, our customers came back and then they said, okay, we got the best system on the world. It's beautiful, it's fast, it's quick, it converts, it's great. But now guess what? You don't get paid based off how good your funnel is. You get paid based off how you can drive qualified traffic to that funnel. If you can't get eyeballs on the funnel, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So then they came to us and they said, Dakota, we need traffic. We need traffic. How are we going to get traffic? We need traffic. We need traffic. So then we went down this long rabbit hole. You know, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. We got into everything. And we were very successful with it in-house. But one thing that we pride ourselves in here at Luxvoni is understanding that it's smarter to learn from other people's mistakes than make them on your own. And we're all about cutting that learning curve. So instead of being an agency that specializes in everything, we became an agency that just brought in the people that were best in the world at those things and then bridged out. So we went and got Jonathan Kendall, former CEO of Mentor Box, raised $250 million for Ty Lopez. We brought in people like Stephen Ray. Huge success as a sales professional, huge success as a sales leader. Built a dealer network for an e-commerce company that did over $300,000 a month by himself with zero ad spend and just a telephone.
Thank you.
We brought in Andrew Sabatino, former vice president of Safe Life Defense. We brought in Dimitri. We brought in Ejection. We brought in Sean Balser. We brought in all these subject matter experts because we were humble enough to know we couldn't do it all, right? We had to go out and find the best. And when I say the best, I'm not talking about interviewing mediocre people. I'm talking about interviewing the guys that are making so much money, you can't hire them. They're making too much money on their own. So instead of competing with those people, we brought them in. We sold them. We got them in. And all of our managing partners, we're so confident in this company. Every single one of us have $300,000 to $700,000 invested in this company to become a managing partner. Every one of us. So we're not hiring leaders to just pay them. They're paying in to become a part of this because they see the innovation. They see what we're doing. They see the big picture. So it's very important. But again, our customers told us what they wanted, so we listened. That's why we've been successful, and that's why our clients are successful. The expectation has been different. A lot of brands won't do that. They're not humble enough to listen to the customer. It's customers wrong. It's customers wrong. Well, after you service people at scale, it's kind of hard to say everybody's wrong and you're the only one right. Gets a little wacky then, right? Yeah. So being humble enough to see that is very important. So that's the customer success side. So we talked about curiosity. We talked about sales. We talked about marketing. We talked about onboarding. We talked about our projects, how we run an assembly line model, how we deliver faster than anybody else, quicker, more efficient, and more beautiful than anybody else. And then we just talked about, understanding voice of customer and listening to our actual customer. The next piece of this is, if you look at a company, what makes up a company? The companies make up companies? No, people make up companies. And as a company, we are mission driven. So external circumstances can change, but what can't change is our internal values, our morals, and our mission as a company and our vision. So we let that guide us through this process. And we're obsessed with morale. We're obsessed with culture. We're obsessed with being a coach in everything that we do. We coach one another. We hold each other accountable. If you're not better than you were the day before, there's a problem. Your KPIs aren't getting hit. We need to readjust. And some people who join our company, it doesn't work out. And now we're to the point where we have little to no churn rate as far as turnover for employees because we vet to such an extent when we're hiring people. But that's the big thing, is understanding that we're coaches in everything that we do. We're coaches to our customers. We're coaches to ourselves. We're evolving. We're getting better. When you work with Luxvoni and you're in your project management system and your project manager is messaging you and they're talking to you and they're giving you guidance, or you jump on the phone with our customer success team and they're walking you through a process, or you jump on the phone with our traffic team, these are experts. These are guys that understand training is not something you've done. It's something you do. These are guys that are evolving every single day. They have a morning routine. They're not operating out of chaos. They're focused. They're learning. They're consuming. They're training. They're becoming better every single day because in order to service you, the customer, better, our people have to be better. You see what I'm saying? So that's an important aspect. Now, the next piece is you can always tell how successful a company really is based off how successful their people are within their organization. And I think as a company, we like to focus on letting our customers speak for us. That's what's built the Luxvoni brand. It's not me, it's not Jonathan, it's not Andrew, it's not 50 employees that we have, it's our customers. So Luxvoni was built from our customers. That's the first thing. And the second thing is our internal company. Our brand is built off the success of people like Steven, of people like myself, of people like Andrew. So when you look at a company and all the people in the company aren't growing, aren't successful, don't have the life of their dreams, aren't living in the house that they dream, aren't driving the cars that they dream, aren't doing what they need to do, something's misaligned. Wouldn't you agree?
Agreed. Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. We want our people to all be successful. So when you look at our brand and you look at our leadership team and you look at our coaches like Steven, these guys are ultra successful. You don't have a guy on the phone with you making, $60,000 a year trying to teach you how to build an 8-figure business. These guys are very successful. So I think understanding that leadership team makes up that company. And if you look at a company and you got, a couple of small people there and, we don't just hire leaders. We hire marketing practitioners. We're a marketing company. I'm not a corporation. I'm not in the business of hiring people that don't understand marketing. I think I could get a lot of benefit from doing that. But to me, it's very important to bring in the best in all these areas. And thankfully, I've been able to assemble a team that is the best of the best in what they do. So when you look at Jonathan Kendall and his track record, he raised $250 million in 2 years. He's the protege of Alex Mayer, the founder of Zeus, sold that company for $200 million. Mentor Bots, Ty Lopez, that's him. You see, he's actually made real money. He doesn't need a job. He's got so much cash sitting in the bank, he don't really need a job. But he's with us, right? Andrew Sabatino, same thing. $50 million a year e-commerce company. And you worked for Andrew at Safe Life. Like you worked with Andrew. You worked with me as I was consulting with you guys. Again, $50 million e-commerce brand. Not a lot of people can say they built a $50 million e-commerce brand and done $7 million a month.
No, most can't.
Most can't. The majority of coaches like yourself can't say that they put up the numbers that they put up for that e-commerce brand either. But you were the best at what you did. Andrew was the best at what he did. And then you go even a step farther. Antwan. Look at what Antwan's built. He has sold tens of millions of dollars worth of webinars and funnels. He's got experience that I don't have. Look at Dimitri. Guy manages $150,000 a month. $150,000 a day in ad spend. He got clients that net $30 million a year. I'm not a media buyer. I'm a founder. It's a different personality facet. Talk to Dimitri. Go on our YouTube channel and look at Dimitri's interview. He's the opposite of me. He's an analytical personality type. Data, numbers, math, that's what you need as a media buyer, right? Real simple. Craig Bond, same thing. All these guys have built 7, 8, 9-figure companies. That's why they're on our team. So we've actually done what we're preaching, and I think that leadership team is what makes this company work, because we're constantly innovating. We're constantly over-delivering. And I'm not trying to be, I don't want people to take this as us being cocky, because that's not my take today whatsoever. I want people to understand why we're here, what we do, and why we're great. The original question is how we have this success rate. This is how. I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm not trying to say that we're, better than anybody else. But that's the real fact. Now, if you talk about, and you really look at like coaches, success, whether it's athletic stuff, doctors, whatever it may be, the real question is when you're going to a doctor, let's say you break your arm in half. I broke this arm in half, had pins and stitches. And let's say my mom and me went down to 2 different places. I go to one doctor's office. This guy works out of his garage, shows up with a nice snap-on toolbox and a hammer. And he says, brother, I know what I'm doing. I'm cheap. I can get you set up. We're going to fix that arm right. That's one example, right? Second example, we roll up, Carillion, Roanoke, Virginia. That's where I went and got my arm fixed because my mom's not crazy. But we roll up to there and we get into this big facility, and it's got 50 floors, and there's hundreds of doctors, and there's all this staff and all this payroll. And I meet this doctor, and he's on every award. He's all in the press. He's all over the news, but he's a little bit more expensive, right? Who do you go to?
Not the guy with the snap-on tools.
I want the most qualified person to fix the arm that I'm going to have for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Now, it's the same thing with marketing. So you're coming to a company to help you scale your revenue. Do you want them to actually have revenue, or do you want them not? Like, I find it so unique that in this world, there's overweight people giving fitness advice, broke people giving financial advice, and drug addicts giving addiction advice. And I'm not trying to put anybody down by saying that. I just find it very strange to me as a person that you would be willing to take advice on how to grow your business from somebody who can't grow theirs. That kind of is unique to me. I don't understand it, right? But it is what it is. So when it comes to scaling your business and your revenue, do you want to go to the company that has 3 employees and maybe does $60,000 a month? Do you want to trust that agency to support your goal to make $1 million a month? Or do you want to go to the agency that actually makes $1 million a month, that has enough revenue to pay for the top tier talent, to build an incredible leadership team? Like, you can see how successful a company, right, is. I mean, time will always tell. The people who have the best leadership teams, the people who have the most revenue, those are the ones solving the most problems at scale. It's a fact. Because it doesn't run forever. If they had bad products and bad services, they wouldn't be able to continue the revenue. But when you look at revenue predictions of companies and you see year after year, boom, 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 and they keep investing that into the talent, what does that say? They got the best customer experience. They got the best products. They got the best leadership team. They got the best all of it. And some people will say, these big companies, da 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 da. Don't be so black and white. That's my advice. Because there is a gray to everything. It's like this political stuff. See people get into fights over who's the president. Like, have you ever met that man in your life? Have you ever ran a country for yourself? Then why are you qualified to sit at this table today and tell me how to run a country? I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to success in business, I want good coaches. I want somebody that has proof of concept. So with us, if you're looking for a Honda Civic, you're looking to hop in this Honda Civic, kick a little VTEC, and maybe hit your goals in 5 years, we're not that. We're not in the business of average. But if you're looking for a Lamborghini who can get you to your goals in 6 months, get you there fast, get you there with 4 doors, get you there in style with 760 horsepower, that's what we're in the business of. We're in the business of being exceptional. We have high standards for our clients, we have high standards for ourselves, and we have high standards for our products and our ability to help our clients grow and scale. That's what really comes down to it. And that's how we make our clients successful. Again, curiosity, innovation, marketing, consultations, onboarding, all the way down to our assembly line model and how we deliver projects, all the way down to our leadership team. All this stuff's really important. Now, the next question that I would have if I was watching this is, okay, what makes your clients not successful, Dakota? Right? What does that look like? And one thing I want to say before I jump into this isn't the Dakota show. I'm not successful because of Dakota. I'm successful because I'm humble enough to find people that are way better than me and partner with those people instead of compete with those people. That's the only thing that's made this work for me. So when you look at this, you have to understand all these processes I just told you about, this behind the scenes structure of our agency. It's 7 years in the making. It's 4 years of taking no profit from the company. It's years of grossing massive numbers. And instead of pulling $3 or $6 million bucks out of the business to finance our lifestyles, it went always back into the company to fuel growth and to fuel innovation. 7 years of sacrifice. But again, it's not me, it's everybody. The power of Luxvoni is in what we call the Luxvoni Collective. So I'm just the vehicle giving this information. I'm not the man behind all this. I'm only successful because my team's successful. And they're only successful because I'm successful. You see what I'm saying? So it's important. Now, let's talk about what makes us clients not successful. And you've dealt with these folks, Stephen, and I think that it's unique because we've looked at all the surveys and all the psychometric assessments and all the data and so much voice of customer. And what's funny is the customers who aren't successful don't even have a voice. Like, they don't give us anything. So if you look at like the 400 clients that we've serviced over the last few years, out of those 400 clients, we've had about 35 people not be successful. And those are really good numbers. Like, I'm very proud of those numbers because it's been very difficult to do. And it's required a lot of sacrifice and a lot of pain in our personal lives to accomplish these things. But again, we're fans of delayed gratification, not instant gratification. But I think it comes down to a couple of things. The first person who doesn't succeed with us are unethical people. And when I say unethical, they don't understand word is bond. They have no mission. They have no values. They have no guiding principles. And they're coming from a place of scarcity. And these people in particularly are the people who do these things called chargebacks, right? And instead of reaching out to Steven or one of our customer service team or a big support team who's there 24/7 to accommodate our customers, they duck, they hide, they go behind a bank, they contact their bank up, and they claim that we never delivered a service, right? Well, good news and bad news with that situation. Good news is they get their money back. Bad news is it doesn't end very well for them because we have in-house counsel. So I don't need to go through what that looks like. But those people end up in way worse off. A lot more court costs, a lot more just bad situation. And we can't help that. You know, those are unethical people. So we have contracts, we have obligations. We can't support people that are unlike that. Now, here's the good news about that. I think over 3 years, we've had like 8 chargebacks. Like if you looked at our merchant account, you would be like, my God, these guys have to be doing something right. Because our chargeback rate is below anything. Why? We listen to our customers. We're the fastest. We set expectations the best. We design the best. We provide the best results. There is like the amount of value that we deliver for the amount that they paid. There is such a big gap. So it manages expectations. So that's the first type of people, your unethical people. And they typically don't even call us. They don't even ask for anything. They get on the phone. Here's the crazy part. They typically do it within the first 7 days before they even get onboarded. They'll sign a contract, pay. 7 days go by. We can't get them to commit. We can't get an intake form. We can't get anything from them. And then they call their bank. It was their plan all the time. They just weren't man enough to say no. They weren't man enough to be transparent with us and allow us to be good coaches. In order to have a good coach, you have to talk to your coach. You got to be transparent with your coach. So instead of telling us, hey, I got to worry about rent in 1 week, they play like there's something they're not. And then when that rent bill comes, they need that cash back. And that's unfortunate because we could have prevented them from ever being in that situation again. So that's the first people, unethical people. Second types of people that are not successful with us is, unfortunately, there's unforeseen circumstances in this world. Everywhere. So like 2020, one of our most successful years. Great revenue, great growth. Pretty crazy because you would think it would be a painful year. But through that process, a lot of our customers, a lot of dear friends of mine, their businesses were destroyed. They were forced to close down. They were forced to cover payroll on a business that couldn't even make revenue. And being people of their word, people committed to their people's success, some of these people drained through every last cent they had to take care of their people. And of course, we did a lot of work for free for, some of those people, try to give back to the community and help them. But that's the first thing. I can't control COVID-19. So that was difficult. So a lot of unforeseen circumstances. Some of these clients go through bad divorces, we've heard it all, man. Been arrested, had a warrant from 6 years ago, disappeared for 2 months, come to find out they were in jail. Or when you're servicing a lot of clients, you start, it's kind of crazy. But unforeseen circumstances, that's a big one. And then the next one, we've partnered with a lot of super successful companies that we get in the door with, we're ready to rock and roll, and then some big giant comes in and buys them up. And this giant, it's over for them. They don't have any more control. They took the capital. They transferred ownership. And then I think the last one is trying to say this in a way that doesn't come off the wrong way. But I'll just be honest. People that didn't need a marketer, they needed a clinical psychologist. So we can't help individuals that, if you can't believe in yourself, if you don't have enough certainty and enough belief that you're going to succeed, how can we ask you to believe in us? You've never touched real money. You've never felt it. You have disempowering beliefs that are holding you back. As humans, we have two decisions in this world. It's, do we want an empowering belief that empowers our potential? Or do we want a limiting belief that disempowers our potential? Now, some of our clients are pessimistic type individuals. There's places and companies for both. I'm not saying pessimism is bad. I'm not saying optimism is the way to go. I think there's places and companies for all of those. The data, there's statistics that actually can prove this. But as a founder, I want somebody who's an optimist because it's proven facts. Optimists make more money. Optimists do not get depressed. They have a very low anxiety and depression rate. And optimists are also way more higher and don't suffer from anxiety. So who are your optimists? It's your founders, it's your salespeople, it's those. Now, as far as pessimistic people go, it's not bad to be a pessimist either. CFOs, I want a CFO as a pessimist. I don't want Dakota Burford managing Luxvoni finances. It's going, woo! We're going to make all the money in the world. I don't want that. I want somebody that is like Alicio, who is very, very analytical, willing to save a buck, willing to look after the money. Engineering, different things like that. But my point of it is, I'm not saying you got to be an optimist to work with us. I'm not saying you got to be a pessimist to work with us, but you've got to be clinically minded. Like, you got to be sane. Like, if you score very high in neuroticism and you're unstable, you're emotionally unstable, just do something else. Like, that's the problem that I have. And some of these clients are like that. Unfortunately, it attracts a lot of narcissistic people. Like, some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, very narcissistic. They score very, very narcissistic on a dark triad test. It's just a fact. So understanding how to see through that's important. But again, those beliefs are big. So having somebody that is in their right mind, they're willing to grow their mind, they're coachable, they're willing to understand that it's about impact, it's about ethics, it's about having so much passion for something you couldn't dream about not doing it. Like, if we sold Luxvoni today, I mean, I've sold 2 companies. One company by the time I was 23 years old. I did the vacation, the 6-month thing. I did the Hawaii thing. I did the getting married to somebody I barely knew thing. I got it all out of my system really early, and what I found was that the only thing I could think about is what I should have been building. And if I'm sitting on a beach, I'm going to be thinking about what I could be building here at Luxvoni. I'm stuck. I'm just going to be dreaming about doing what I'm doing now, so why would I do anything else? That's how I'm wired. I'm not saying that's how you have to work. I'm more of a mountain climber. Freedom fighters, you keep fighting freedom, you make all the money in the world, you collect all the cash, you go finance your lifestyles, you have fun. We're all geared different, but back to that KPI thing, that's why understanding this stuff is so damn important. If an agency doesn't ask you that, how are they going to determine your success? Like, if you're a freedom fighter and you say, oh, I want to go from $50K a month to $100K a month. Okay, that's fine. But what if we take you from $50K a month to $100K a month, but you net zero money because your cost to acquire customers is so damn high, you make no net profit. Then you come back and you say, well, you guys failed. Well, you said you wanted to go to here. Oh, you're not after revenue. You're after profit because you want to pull all the money out to buy houses and cars. Oh, well, sorry. We screwed that one up. That's what happens. Now, if you pray at the altar of revenue, it's a different game. So I think it's very important. Now, marketing agencies watching this, we work with a lot of marketing agencies, a lot of very successful marketing agencies. And the reason why a lot of marketing agencies partner with us is because of this process that we have. We have a very successful white label program to where these people can, instead of trying to spend 7 years of their life building this team, they can cut the learning curve, partner with us, and we give all these funnels to them on a flat rate basis, and they bring them to their clients as their own, and they work and they're successful. But if you're that agency and you're looking at how to build an agency and stuff like that, this is a framework you can follow. It will take a very long period of time. It's going to take you, this is 7 years. And I think to build an agency like this, you're not going to be able to be a freedom fighter. Like, if you're just going to take all your profit to finance your lifestyle, you're not going to be able to do this in 7 years. It's going to take you more like 20 because you're going to pull all the cash out of the company. But if you're an agency that wants to build something like this, revenue's your goal, impact's your goal, you're after that, you can deploy something like this. Or if you're somebody who's just smart and says, hell with it, I want to partner with the best, this is what we do through our white labeling program. So you get all this. We do it all for you. And we do it at a very ridiculously cheap fee. Now, I'm not at liberty to say what that fee is because based off your revenue, based off your clients, it fluctuates. But if you're interested in something like that, reach out to us. But yeah, that's the reason that we're successful. Stephen, I hope that answered your question. I know it's about an hour-long tangent, but I think the only way that I can show people why we're successful is to take you through the process that's made us successful, that makes them successful. So I hope that kind of answers that question.
That was huge, Dakota, and I certainly appreciate the insight into Luxvoni's innovation. That's been amazing.
Well, I appreciate it, man. What else you got for me? You kicking ass. You doing all kinds of great things over there. What are you excited about? What's going on with you?
Hey, I'm excited about everything that's on the horizon. I mean, things are just growing, in a time when a lot of the world's slowing down, we're ramping up. So it's just super exciting. And, to have that opportunity, looking forward to it. It's huge. It's huge.
We're happy to have you a part of the team, man. You've been a dear friend. You've been a good person. You always look after our clients, and you got so much potential with this company. And we're going to get to that $5 million a month mark, and we're going to take over. We're going to be the only funnel builders that are out there that can do what we can do. And people like you is what makes it possible. And if it wasn't for that, again, our team's what makes us successful, and our team is what will make our clients successful. Not me, not Jonathan, not Andrew. It's the collective. But, dude, you've grown so much, and it's been incredible having you around and seeing the impact we've been making. And I think it's important. How do you feel about working with Luxvoni? I mean, you're in it every day. I know I'm kind of behind the scenes. I don't really talk to a lot of people a lot, but, I mean, what's your experience with us?
No, it's been huge, man. Like you said, I did leave, another company and ultimately to pursue this opportunity. And it's family. It's, it's not just about the bottom line. It's about taking care of each other. We all have each other's backs. We have our clients' backs. It's just super cool the way things are. It's not just work. It's literally like we go to war for each other, man. And that's huge. So I'm just happy to be here in that regard because you don't get that every day. It's a rarity in the world actually anymore. So I'm stoked, man. Yeah.
Well, you guys create that.
We love it, Yeah.
You guys do. So it starts in leadership and it works our way down, and our values and our mission and our principles come down. But again, the reason why we're successful is because of talent like you. Like we got good talent.
It's the closest to, the old saying, hey, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life kind of thing. It's not even a job. And I don't say that loosely, but it's not even a job. It's just a way of life. We get up and we go. Everyone's got the same common goal. We all have a smile on our face, and when we don't, the guy next to us makes sure we freaking do. So that's cool, man.
Yeah. I think that culture comes from abundance. Like I always study this and always been obsessed with it. And if you look at scarcity versus abundance, a lot of it's a mindset, right? Mindset's everything, man. Like if people could focus on their mindset before they ever got into marketing, they could do so much more by mastering that. I think that's the best place for anybody to start. But I think we're all abundant people. Like everybody in this company wants to help somebody else be better. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to be great. And like I tell some of our clients when they complain to us about their employees and stuff, I'm like, nobody wants to wake up and screw everything up. That's not their intention. They don't come out of the bed and say, I want to suck today. I'm going to blow everything up. I'm going to screw this up. I'm going to get fired. I'm going to ruin everything that I touch today. Nobody does that. Everybody wants to be great. So you as a founder or an entrepreneur, you got to take a deep look in. And it's often times as founders, we play the victim game. We'll say, so-and-so did this. So-and-so did that. They screwed this up. They screwed this up. And then we coach these people down instead of coaching them up, because whose responsibility is to make people successful? who hired those people?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you hire somebody and they screw something up. Well, who hired them? Take responsibility, right?
Yep.
And I think that non-victim mentality is very important that we possess here because we're very extreme with it. And a lot of people can't take it. If they come in with the wrong mindset and they play victim, they point fingers, they have a problem with turning shit into sugar, they're those type of people. They don't make it here. So when you work with us and you interact with Steven and you interact with anybody in our company, you're going to quickly realize that we operate on a different frequency. It's not about what you can do with what you can do for us. It's about what we can do for you to, in return, help us get to our common goal. It's not about money anymore. Like, trust me, we're not going to miss if you're considering working with us and you decide to go a different way, and that's perfectly fine. But I can promise you this, we're not going to miss your $6,000. Steven's not going to miss it. I'm not going to miss it. Nobody's going to miss it because we're going to all get paid the same no matter what. Because we're coming from a place of abundance.
100% agree. It's a mindset here. We're here to accomplish goals. It's not for another sale. It's not for another deal. It's to meet the goals and accomplishments that we all need from each one of us individually, all the way down to, and I don't want to say down to, all the way including our clients and everyone we interact with. So yeah, it's not about another deal, dime a dozen. It's about actually having some impact on this world and each other. And
each other, bringing real value to the world. We're good at marketing. We can tell you that, so we can get customers. So, there has to be alignment. Like if you don't align with us, then we're pretty good at spotting that out of the gates. But like if you're looking at a contract right now with this video in it, or you're doing your due diligence and you're looking on YouTube or whatever it may be, and you're really feeling like we're not jiving, like maybe we're on a different frequency, you're probably right. Because, if you're feeling that way, there's a reason why you're feeling that way. But if you're somebody who's sitting on this right now and you're relating with what we're saying, you aspire to have a company, bigger than ours, maybe like ours, maybe, cover these core principles that are in this contract or below this video, our mission and values, and you relate with that, then it may be a good fit. We may have a lot of fun together. But we're a little bit of a different company. We're not everybody cup of tea. So it's a little unique. You want to add anything there, Steven?
Hey, I just appreciate the opportunity. A couple guys shooting the shit, just telling you what's really going on here. And I love it. Not sugarcoating it, man, but just, letting you know what's happening. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I'm glad you reached out. I'm glad we put this together because this was fun. And I hope I wasn't, as Steven knows, you
can be a little verbose.
I'm a little blunt. I'm a little hardcore. I'm very extreme. I expect a lot of my team and my people, and sometimes I might come off the wrong way. But I hope in this particular situation, I didn't rub anybody wrong, and I hope my message was conveyed the way that I wanted it to be perceived, because I have no ego here. It's not about how much money I make. It's not about how much money our company makes. It's about how much impact we make. And at the end of the day, if we just continue to focus on impact, the money's always came. Like the reason why we're successful is because we have impact in our clients' businesses. It's the two and the two here. Like we chase the impact, the money comes. So I don't want anybody to take anything the wrong way, or maybe, that was kind of arrogant, and I hope that wasn't perceived that way. And dude, let's do something like this again. Let's take them through other stuff. We can take them through. Shoot, I think something that would be cool is really show off the behind the scenes of what's going on. Like our leadership meetings, our morning meetings.
I think they'd love that stuff. That's the good stuff.
What's going on in the media buying department? What how much money we're spending on ads? What's our return? How we're doing it? Phone call recordings? I think people would find a lot of value in that.
Oh, absolutely. And actually a lot of entertainment, because it's not just, grinded out work. I mean, it is, but we have a lot of fun. So It's entertaining, man. It's entertaining.
Well, I appreciate you, bro, and I'm going to get ready
Likewise.
to head down to the gym. Thank you for putting this together. It was an absolute pleasure, and let's do something regular like this. Let's do something every couple of weeks where me and you do something together, because this was great. I really appreciate you coming out and saying, "Hey, dude, I want to do this. Let's do it." I didn't have to ask you. You came out, you put it together, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it, and let's keep it up. Let's do it again in a couple of weeks, man.
Well, be great. Enjoy your night, and let's get together sometime next couple of weeks here in Vegas and have a little cookout.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, brother.
Go
Thank
get
you.
that gym. Yeah.
Enjoy, man.
Later.
Bye-bye.